Welcome everyone to another episode of my BCC, where we get to meet and learn and have a conversation with the people that make up BCC's community. I'm Cantor Juval, and I am so delighted to have with me today Lesbian Tracy Moore. Hi, Tracy.
Hi, Juval.
It's such a pleasure to have you join this series that already had some amazing people on it, and you just add to it with your own amazingness. Perhaps let's start with what it was, though I can guess the superficial response. What was it initially that prompted you to join VCC?
I don't actually belong to BCC, and I never have because I'm married to the who erstwhile rabbi, was a rabbi, of course, for 25 years. And so it's not a way that I could be. I could not be a member. I did a lot of things. I did everything from membership and all kinds of, events and things like that. But I've never been a member.
So you've never been an official member, and yet, and I think I can speak for most of our congregation, you are perceived as such an integral part of our community, there's such a strong association between you and the face of VCC. So perhaps rather than the official membership component, can you tell us a little bit about your sense of belonging, your sense of connection with the community and its people?
Sure. I've been for a long time in jobs where I was dealing with people who were being like donors to organizations and also where there was a lot of events. And so being able to tap onto that background, it was easy to come to BCC where we had also, I should mention, been coming to BCC because when Lisa was in rabbinic school, we were members. That was the time I was a member.
Mm.
And so we were members and we came to Shul. And that was when I became a Jew. So that was an important time. When Lisa went to rabbinic school, I went with her and we went for a year, and nobody really thought about the fact that I wasn't a Jew, and I was very well, made friends with in Israel and still have friends there to this day.
Mm.
And so it wasn't an issue so much. There was an issue because Lisa was the first out coupled student. There were other I guess, gay and lesbian people who had been in the schools, but not out about having their spouse with them. And that was a great thing going to Israel. It was right at the beginning of the Intifada, which wouldn't make you think it was a great time, but it was a great time because, for one thing, I was able to go to school for basically for free to the university. And the biggest mistake I made was not taking Hebrew, because at the time I didn't think, I'm never going to need Hebrew. What am I going to need Hebrew for?
Mm-hmm.
And so, nevertheless, I went to school and took a lot of amazing courses. And meanwhile, Lisa was going to school, and people were getting used to the fact that she was lesbian and that I was her partner. And that was all new for them. And the students, it was kind of eye-opening for them. And they were great. They really opened up. They were curious. They wanted to know a lot about how could we, how do we run our lives, basically. And that was, being in Israel was fabulous. And I have a great picture of a time when I had my hair twirled. I had some kind of thing done, and then I really looked like a Jew. People people just a lot of times thought I was Jewish, which was hilarious.
It sounds like it was quite a win-win situation in which you and Rabbi Lisa, with your openness and authenticity, were able to model, same-sex love and partnership to students, Israelis who weren't necessarily familiar with that. And so in your own way, you helped kind of pave the way towards openness and acceptance and expansion of horizons for so many. And on the other hand, you being there and having the access to the university allowed you to expand your horizon on so many.
I also expanded their horizon. I can't exactly remember when this came in, but I decided that what I wanted to do was to gather people's lesbian stories in Israel. And the end of the story of doing that is this book, Lesbiot, but it started ground level, never expected to have a book necessarily, but I knew that I wanted to gather these stories. And the first week that we were there, the first weekend we were there, we stood on the corner with Dai Le Kabouche, the three languages, lesbian or women standing in places all over the country, demanding an end to what do I say in English?
Well, some use the word occupation.
Yeah, okay, the occupation, right? Dai Le Kabouche. So I just started to meet a lot of people, and as I was saying, going to school, and also then meeting these lesbians, and I started to understand that lesbians had not been politically as lesbians. They were very political. Of course, Israelis are very political, but they didn't have politics as lesbians in their lives because they had so much to do. So I came from that background, and what happened was that it became very interesting, and I developed an interview process with lesbians there and learned how to interview and to record those interviews. And those interviews, there were 27 lesbians from all over the country, and they would say, oh, you've got to interview so and so up in the north, or down in the south. So it was a really wide range of people.
Awesome. I enjoy the act of interviewing too. I mean, just look at what we're doing right now, because there's just so much to learn from every human's story and experience. And
oh yeah,
and I mean, based on everything you're saying, I mean, I can see how all of your experience from Israel transported with you, journeyed with you to the US, and how you brought all of these qualities of like inquiry and curiosity and wanting to learn and welcoming into BCC's community.
And I'd been an English teacher for 10 years.
Yeah.
So I was used to standing up in front of people.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I got really involved in was membership. So I organized a lot about membership.
Yeah.
Because membership, how people became members.
Yeah. One story that just is omnipresent in every statement about you, testimonials about BCC, it's reoccurring, and that is that it goes something like, it was my first time coming to BCC. I stood by the lobby, and out of nowhere, Tracy showed up, asked who I was, how I was doing, if I need somewhere to sit. So that is really reoccurring, and I hope you know how much you've contributed to just the well-being of not yet members or new visitors, and you really created a lasting memory for them.
Well, I still do it.
You still,
I still do it.
yeah, and
I just feel like it's so necessary for the
yeah,
people who walk in and don't have somebody that they either
yeah,
whom they know or how that they know how to get around or
yeah,
something.
yeah,
And a lot of times the rabbi and even the rabbi emerita is involved in something that they need to be doing.
yeah.
And I'm just good at picking up those little empties.
Yeah, and if I may say, you are also very good in like making physical gestures, like a gentle touch, a gentle embrace.
Hmm.
And I've seen you from the Bima, comforting people who are in mourning, or just it's like you have a, I don't know, maybe I'm projecting, but I noticed you being really sensitive and attuned to when people are in need of some touch, and I myself have benefited from it. So thank you.
Well, I do want to make a point of saying how important the music is to me and how important you've been. I mean, I pick up song music melody and words.
Yeah.
I know them mostly, but I pick them up very quickly. And that's one of the things that I just love about BCC is how much music there is, and that it's not performative, show off music. It's leader music,
Hmm.
and the way that your voice is very encouraging because you don't come out with this loud, here I am, big voice person, you know, and yet it's a very enticing and gathering and, just comforting way of learning music. And also, I'm so glad that you've introduced so many new melodies.
Hmm.
And I know that there are people who love all the old melodies. I have to say that I am very happy that there are new melodies and that there are a really big range. I really like that.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. It's a balancing act of guarding, cultivating the old, the familiar, while also making sure that composers of today are being recognized and that their music is
Yeah,
presented and delivered. Yeah.
yeah, and you always give them credit by name, and
Yeah.
so we get to learn those people and not just their songs.
Yeah. Thank you. My next question would be, especially in light of the pandemic, world events, I'm curious to hear if you have a practice or a philosophy or a way of looking at the world or whatever it is, sources of support that keep you connected to your faith, to your sense of awe and wonder in the world, in your life. Is there anything you can think of and share?
That's a really tough one for me because I don't have a very clear understanding or belief or concept of God or a power, let's say. I guess I don't know. But
Yeah.
I wasn't ever it wasn't ever something that was taught to me as a in a with rules or like that I'm supposed to know. So it's probably something I miss in a way, but it's because it's not a requirement and it really is my own power to do, think as I see fit. That, I mean, I appreciate that a lot, and that's just how I know how to do it. And so the music, and for quite a few years, I went to Torah study, and I could see going back now. I mean, because of just where I am in my life, and I'm pushing 80, and my health is funny in ways. So there are quirky parts too. But then the way I am at BCC and the different ways I can find to be useful and to make my opinions known and also raise money. I want to just mention that's one thing that I am something that I can contribute. And
Yeah.
so, and we're just about doing that now. So I'm getting to talk to some people now. But
Yeah. So really, if I can distill it, what I heard was that what gives you stability is just the ability to contribute to
yeah,
things that are meaningful to you, and things that connect with your gifts that you can share with the world.
yeah,
Fundraising, community building, relational.
yeah. One of the things that's difficult for me is that I have few friends. And there are people who like me, and I get sometimes invited and things, and we have good times. But in general, that's not so much the case as being the way people are in, you know, crowds of their buddies, things like that. So there's a certain level, there's a certain aspect of loneliness for me because people are really glad to see me and I have nice interactions with them. But I think they don't feel comfortable or allowed to ask personal questions of me,
Mm,
whereas they do share their own personal. So, and that's a hard thing for me to learn how to do, to turn it around.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think I know what you mean. I mean, it's kind of the clergy or the clergy adjacent
Yeah, I was,
conundrum.
I was thinking that might be true.
Yes. I mean, one thing that I recall, and I've mentioned it before, as community leaders, as or clergy people, we are so programmed to do our best to be kind to other people and to inquire and to ask that we almost forget what it's like to be on the receiving end. And the moments of being on the receiving end of an act of kindness are to some of us a rare instance. But when it happens, it's just like such a surprise, and like, oh my god, oh, where did that come from? And that feels so nice, and it's not something that I can speak for myself, that is a given, and is a default, because in my mind and my mindset, I'm so attuned towards directing it towards others. So when it's the other way, it's kind of like a surprise. And yes, I relate to the longing at times of being given permission to open up, and knowing that there's like a receiving ear on the other end that is willing to sit with the personal, with that which is underneath the surface a little. So
Yeah.
thank you for sharing that and being so vulnerable. I wonder if there's anything else you would like to share with whoever's listening right now.
Well, I guess I would share based on what I was just saying that I really welcome the opportunities to just get together to do things. And now that the world is opening up a little bit, I would like that to happen more. But and it sort of has a little bit, I guess I would say.
Yeah.
And I need to do my side of it in terms of saying, this was really important to me to have this time with you. And so,
Thank you. It's been such a gift of having this conversation with you, and thank you for
thank
opening
you.
up.
And it's the opportunity that I welcome.
Thank you so much, Tracy. I will see you soon.